We're going to move on to Wānaka now. Why Wānaka? Well, why not? It's a beautiful place. It's a stunning place, but they've got some big issues. The population's doubled, and there's about the population of Auckland go through there every year with tourism, and of course the impact on the lake is just massive. And so I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Amanda Bell. I'm not going to go through your bio, but Amanda is doing some amazing work down there, and she's going to tell us about it. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tatau katoa. Good morning. I'm proud to be talking on behalf of Wānaka. I'm chair of the board and program director of our Knowledge into Action for Te Tao, and funded by our Land and Water National Science Challenge and Jobs for Nature. I'm going to talk about some of our work and our thinking. We do quite a bit of thinking for the reasons that John's just said done in Wānaka. It's a very special place to many of us. The primary sector, and in particular landowners, are in a time of transformational change, uncertainty, challenges, and it's not easy, and it is intergenerational. Why Wānaka and the community are passionate about our place and our stunning environment. Get the buttons right. We recognise that we're a process in changing our thinking from being farmers on the land to being landowners that care for the land. Visitors who give more than they take, a regenerative approach. We cannot continue to do things that affect others outside our boundaries, and it's the same principles for town and country. We also understand that the land can support others outside of the boundaries. Biodiversity and carbon have broader impacts. Tai ao ora tangata ora, a New Zealand primary sector vision. If the land is healthy, so too are the people. I see that at the moment we're setting up for our future and those opportunities by creating new ways of working. We talk a lot about the opportunities, and Minister O'Connor did today, but what we need is more focus now to realise these opportunities to support the work that we need to do. Catchment groups are a key enabler. So why Wānaka? Healthy ecosystems, community wellbeing, future generations. It's a special place, and here our catchment, you can see, if you stand, imagine if those of you have been to Wānaka, you stand on the top of the Luggate Red Bridge and you cast your eye around the tops of the mountains up to Makarora, Matuki and the Cadrona and back down. That's where our catchment is, 4,600 square kilometres. We talk a lot at Wānaka, and I love it when I hear the team starting to pick up these words, whole of community. It truly is a whole of community. It's the tourism, the rural and the urban, and the wider Otago people, the councils, Māori, fishing game and others working together. It is whole of basin. We need to understand the challenges. Our water looks great, but we have pathogens in those lakes and we want to be in front of it. Purpose-led change. And we in particular are looking for enduring. This is our journey. We started some 5 years ago with a few of us getting together, looking to take a whole approach and understanding the challenges. 1.4 million visitors pre-COVID, the town doubling in size within 10 years. Hard to believe back in 2016, but it's actually happening. At the same time, the Freshwater Leaders Group and government were working on national policy standards in freshwater. So this was a lot of pressures and we needed to get in front of it. So we were fortunate as a full team of people that we were funded by MFE, Freshwater Improvement Funding, the Community Catchment Plan, and that is our guiding plan that we follow, and we try and keep within those tramlines for what needs to be done. We created action groups. In March 2020, the Community Catchment Plan was signed off by that group, and that created, is based on the community's actions that came through, what our Jobs for Nature program would look like. Concurrently, we were aware of the regulation, and we used the term beyond regulation. We were aware of the market starting to show interest in what we needed to do as farmers to validate the good work happening on farm. And at the same time, a platform was being created, New Zealand Farm Assurance Plan Plus. And this we put into a bucket at the bottom, sifted through it, and that created our program of work. We also were really conscious we're in a tourism town, and jobs and our community community was going to be hurting. So how could we have work across the whole year to support our community for what was in front of us? This then led, through this piece of work, to really interconnected solutions. We're already thinking that way, but you need, as been mentioned, science, data, technology, education and awareness, and collaboration is critical. That has recently, in a way, led through to us picking up and being supported with working with our Land and Water and this knowledge into action for Te Taiao. People create the dream, and the team in Wānaka, they love the word actionists, not activists. That's good, but actionists actually get the work done. And just incredible team of people, particularly through COVID. These lawyers and hospitality people, and just an incredible mix out in the field that were doing work as per the Jobs for Nature plan. Also an amazing team in the office. And our trustees, the governance has been really important to hold us steady and to be focused on the enduring and 50 years out. Really stable and complementary groups of skills and experiences. We talk about collaboration, and it's so critical, collaboration and partnerships. This is a large number of the groups on this slide. They helped create our community catchment plan. And it takes time to connect, and it has to be a focus. And I think we underestimate the value. We probably know the value, but we actually needs to be part of resourcing. That's what pulls us forward to develop and deliver. The community catchment plan, I'm just going to talk about a couple in a little bit more detail about some of our core pieces of work. This is our shared action plan for the Upper Clutha Basin. We needed to understand our challenges, urban growth, visitors, rural, and then what were the actions that could drop out to deliver that enduring change. We had 60 actions, and 24 of those couldn't, other agencies said they're not ours, so they become the community's actions. The others were picked up by Regional Council, QLDC, our local council, DOC, and they said, we're happy to go online and say those are our actions. That's part of what we need to be doing, and we talk regularly and we review them each year and see how we're going. The plan and the process was really important. It took us 15 months, and we understood the pressures, which is sitting there on the left of that slide, the problems more specifically, and then what do we need to do? What programs are going to take us forward to relieve those pressures and get in front? And we put process, but I sort of call them enablers, the science, the practice change. Let's leverage, for example, the Primary Growth Partnership that the MPI had funded, RMPP, P2P, and take those learnings and pull them forward and really realise the values of those investments. Action groups. As I mentioned, our catchment is 4,600 square kilometres. That green that you can see there is the national park, and we do work with DOC. We'd love to work more closely. We'd love to be a pilot to say how can farmers in DOC get rid of the barriers that face us. Catchment groups, we wanted to then infill the basin, so we've got catchment groups that we work with. We then said, what about the small landowner groups, the 20 to 80 hectares, and they pests, weeds, they cross fences, so let's actually link in all of those people. And then the same goes into town, and we're in the process of creating an urban action groups in town, taking that social science of the learnings and going into town. Drains are creeks, they go into our lake, 20 stormwater drains, we need to be managing that water as well. Touching on this, research, communication, education, it weaves everywhere. We've got a really cool, just snippets of cool stuff going on. Nee was just finished working with us on a drifter study, understanding flow paths, tuna. Really passionate, all of us, about tuna and the challenges there, and we need to find solutions. And education, Josie's amazing and working with children, and we have interns coming through the summer breaks as well. Technology's been mentioned. We do need a single pane of glass to help manage our information. Jobs for Nature threw up a lot. How do we report, make that seamless and easier? Mesh networking, LiDAR, remote sensing, This is what this is showing, and there's a whole talk and a go forward on that, and the Land and Water is going to be working with us on that. Another cool piece of work is, I mentioned at the start we had this box, and in that box was, as a result of NZ FAT Plus and regulation, as farmers we need to be measuring biodiversity. How do we do that? We had people like Professor David Norton work with us to train the team so that the team can now go out and do all of these things on farm. It takes, depending on the farm size, 3/4 of a day to 1.5 days, and we've got some farmers are now onto their third round of having biodiversity monitoring that validates the tremendously good work that's happening. Now, I've got 4 slides, and I said, oh, Mandy, that's a lot of info, but I just want you to take out one piece of message from here. This is part of a survey that we delivered around the whole basin. And farmers were asked, are you implementing the following policies? They're doing a great job. Look at the blue. There's a lot of blue. Farmers, as we know, are out there doing stuff. We then said, how are you going with implementing plans? What I'd like you to take out of this is the long list of plans. It's overwhelming. Often they're not together and they're siloed. That's a problem. Then look at the horizontal bar graph, and we said, given this, how are you feeling? What's your current well-being? 44% of our primary farmers, our larger farmers, were okay, but 72% of our smaller landowners were okay. We noted that. And then we look at where do catchment groups sit. They are critical for enabling resilience and connecting with the overwhelm that we've got. We have to maintain the momentum. So what's next? I put this slide up here in Te Papa in 2019. I noted we had to be collaborative in reality, not just talk about it. How can we make it easier? Communities of practice. We needed to pilot a large program, $1.1 billion for Jobs for Nature. We've started, and we needed to have resource and focus on what we needed to be doing. Visionary collaboration. Let's not be compromised in where we're going. BAU, business as usual, that's where we were back then. Working in silos, wasting resources. It takes 7 years for policy to come from Wellington through councils and back to the land. We need to turn that upside down and change the way we work, and that's what we're doing here as catchment groups. The vision, creative and joined up solutions, boundary span, all of those good initiatives that are happening out there. Long-term resourcing, we just don't want to do it once like we've done now. We cannot say that's it. We have to find a way to transition, enduring, at pace together. So how have we done? That's where we were, that's where we wanted to be. We're actually okay. We weren't talking back then like we are now about nature-based solutions and taia ora tangata ora. We've got catchment groups taking a whole approach and doing plans. We're sharing resources. We're being purposeful about how we collaborate. But change is a constant, and those challenges are going to keep coming. At Wānaka, we collaborate deeply and across leadership, the community, and partnerships. If we collaborate at the leadership level, that creates the systems change. It is so critical to do that. Community, bottoms up, farmers, our community in Wānaka, they're the heart of what we do, and that engagement and support to engage with the community is important. Partnerships, we can't do this without working across boundaries. So what does success look like for us? It's sustainable farming, business and tourism. It's revitalising Te Taiao. We go beyond regulation. Regulation sits out here, we're heading over here. We want to enable value opportunities. And Minister O'Connor talked about this, and it is so critical to help support what we're all needing to do. Resilience is a given. So what do we need to do going forwards, and in answering Minister O'Connor's question? New ways of working. We need to rebalance how we've done it from the past. We need to do it differently. We want to harness the power of the community, and that takes resource. We need a long-term commitment. Good things don't happen as a one-off or a second off. It takes more goes at it than that, and we need to continue the momentum. The resourcing, we've been working on this at Wānaka. Yes, we've had government grants. We've been working on business cases for what social enterprise could look like. How could we then share and scale that? What does user pays look like? We actually need to really double down on that. We need time to develop these solutions. We've started, but we don't want to halt the momentum. Transitional support and focus on how we can all be enduring. The Minister asked us, what does it look like? And it looks like supporting transitionally so that we can be enduring and we keep the good work that we're doing going, and we also support the challenges, support farmers and catchment groups, and enable NZ to be in that revitalising to tail space. Thank you very much.
Do you stay here?
Yeah, I'm just going to grab my head.
Just had to take it. I'll grab a bag and take it. Thank you, Amanda. That was absolutely brilliant. It's so much work in such a short time.